Warning, this is not intended for one hater, but all haters. Haters make me famous. Haters make me famous. Haters make me famous. Haters make me famous. Haters.
Call it my battleground. I'm on that center stage where suckers be talking that, but not to my face. Making major moves while them haters prove nothing no harder you shine. You know them haters come by the dozen. All them haters that be talking about us, they be hating on our grind, cause you know we coming up. We be spending all the time on these rhymes and the clubs. You can't steal my shine, cause I'm prime, never mind, cause fame and fortune be the only notion for them haters. Do many years in the game, so you know I paid my dues. No need for the fame, I'm taking names, so I know. And when Moshe blows up, I'm emailing all them.
Haters make me famous.
What the haters know about that?
Good morning, everybody. Welcome, Cap Nation Live. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Thursday, the 29th kind of day of December. It is NHL Game of the Year Day. Welcome, 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 everybody. We got some college football to chit-chat about. Who's ready to rock and roll on this beautiful and blessed Thursday morning? Good afternoon, Anthony. Good afternoon, Mr. Grover. Good afternoon, everybody else. Well, we just started, so yeah, obviously there would only be 10 people here, but yeah. Have a good day there, buddy. Love it. But he was one of the 10. Yahoo! Corey, what's going on, man? Mr. Grover, how's your Thursday going? Ready to rock and roll on this beautiful and blessed Thursday. We're getting closer to them playoff games. The fun playoff games, the good ones. Just a couple days away. I think the bowl games really take a step up starting tonight in that Texas-Washington game, and then I think they just get better starting tomorrow. Starting tomorrow is, to me, where the fun starts to happen. I mean, obviously not the Ohio and Wyoming game, but, you know, Tennessee and Clemson should be a good matchup. Fast B, what's going on, man? But then, obviously, Saturday, you know, the Sugar Bowl, Music City Bowl, Fiesta Bowl, the Peach Bowl. I got to tell you, I'm not looking forward to Monday, January 2nd, when I get to watch USC play fucking Tulane in the Cotton Bowl. Barf? I mean, really? You got Tulane? Ay, ay, ay. Penn State and Utah in the Rose Bowl. Oh, this will be a little interesting one. To end bowl madness before the playoff championship. Nice fun day yesterday. Bigger day planned today. For everybody that doesn't know, NHL Game of the Year from our NHL guys is dropping today. It's actually already dropped, but it happens today. So it's already on the website. You get instant access as soon as you sign up. All of that good stuff. Corey says, loving Syracuse and Minnesota under. We're going to take a look at that one. Out of curiosity, Corey, who do you like on the sides on that one? Out of curiosity. Rich, what's going on, brother? What is going on? Michael, thanks for jumping on board the NHL Game of the Year. Alonzo as well. Brandon, Mr. Brackens, Go Big Blue, Mr. Williams, Chai Yang, Juan, Jesus, Dan Mullins, everybody else that jumped on board our NHL experts, NHL Game of the Year. They're always very appreciative, but you guys are going to be very appreciative too when you put that money in your pocket. Anthony, thanks for jumping on board. Another week of the combo package where you get a week of premiums, a week of my personal plays, guaranteed Saturday, the Sunday NFL guaranteed play, all of that good stuff. By the way, people have been asking me my game of the week. When is your game of the week? When is your game of the week? When is your game of the week? My game of the week goes down tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow. Tomorrow the fun happens for my game of the week. Just popping up our stats and trends, and we're going to go over everything and see what kind of damage we can get into and what kind of fun we can have today. We'll get all them stats up, and we'll start breaking down some college football action, and we will start with that Minnesota and Syracuse game. By the way, the Pinstripe Bowl takes place at Yankee Stadium for everybody that doesn't know. Corey says the Orangemen should cover easily. Minnesota's only going to run the ball. Don't think they can keep it close with just running the ball. You know, and we're going to break it down. I mean, I just right off the get-go, I mean, I like Syracuse, and we'll go over the reasons why. I mean, catching 10.5 in a bowl game, I definitely think they keep it close. I don't necessarily think Minnesota is going to dominate to where they win by 2 touchdowns or more. I mean, they might be able to control time of possession, you know, running 68 offensive plays and 46 of them are by way of run. But I mean, that Syracuse defense holding teams to 150 yards rushing. Yeah, we'll get into that. Let's start the full breakdown, and we'll talk about the reasons why I feel we're going where we're going, all right? You get Minnesota, 8-4 on the year straight up. 7-5 against the spread for the Golden Gophers. Syracuse, 7-5 straight up. 6-6 against the spread. By the way, the underdogs are 3-0 against the spread run in the Minnesota and Syracuse head-to-head matchup. Last 3 times they face each other, the dogs have all covered. Minnesota 8-2 against spread the last 10 games versus a decent passing team averaging more than 7.5 yards per attempt. Syracuse averages 8.4 yards per passing attempt. Just throwing that out there. And then Minnesota 35-36-2. Dating way back 22 years. After a conference straight-up win, I mean, just historically, after a conference straight-up win, they go 50-50 at best. Barely 50-50. Barely 50-50. But in terms of betting and us making money, if you're going to roll on Minnesota in order for them to cover the spread, after a conference straight-up win, they barely even win 50% of the time the next game, let alone cover 10.5 points. Total on this one sitting at a lower 44.5. It is the low of the day, 44.5. I mean, the Florida State game's got 66 or 65.5 and 67 in the Texas and Washington game. So here we are, super low total. New York weather, Yankee Stadium. You got a predominant run team in Minnesota who's laying 10.5 points. Let's go over it. I mean, they both average 28 points a game. 28.2 for Minnesota, 28.3 for Syracuse. When it comes to the run, or offense, just in general, Minnesota's running 46 run plays to 22 passing plays. Syracuse, 34 run plays to 27 passing plays. And here's where the numbers lie. Minnesota averaging 218 a game on the ground, 4.8 yards a carry. They're also averaging a very small 186 in the air at 8.4 yards per passing attempt. So as Corey pointed out in the live chat, Minnesota's going to run the ball. Time of possession. Now, can they cover the 10.5? I mean, it's definitely very possible when it comes to maybe they get an extra possession here or there. They get up a score or two. Time of possession, clock. Syracuse goes 3 and out, punts. Yeah, anything's possible, but I don't really think it happens. Listen to these numbers. Syracuse, they're not the biggest running team. All right, they only average 143 rushing yards a game. They average 4.2 yards a carry, though. When they run the ball, they're averaging 4.2 yards a carry. When they pass the ball, they're averaging 8.4 yards per passing attempt, 223 in the air. Offensive in the air game are very similar. However, there's a big discrepancy in the numbers. Actually, not a big discrepancy. Not much. By what? Almost 40 yards a game. So that says running the ball would correlate to the under, right? Generally speaking, yes, but if they're a slow playing team, but when you look at Minnesota, they're averaging 68 offensive snaps a game. Whereas Syracuse, Syracuse runs the ball more than they pass. They're a little bit slower playing. They only average 61 offensive plays a game. Generally speaking, run teams should go under. However, let's be honest, 44 and a half, 7 touchdowns, 6 touchdowns and a field goal. Boom, it's done. 6 touchdowns and a field goal and it's over. We got 4 quarters. You get one monster run. Maybe you get a turnover on a short field. It can definitely create scoring opportunities. Look at the defensive numbers. All right. Minnesota gives up what? 13.3 points a game. Can you say stingy? Definitely stingy. Syracuse gives up 22.7 points a game. Syracuse is giving up 150 yards rushing a game at 3.8 yards per carry. The Minnesota defense is holding teams 106 yards rushing at 3.7 yards per carry. Yeah, Corey, it is posted. If you don't have access to it, let me know. And I can go in and check. Oh, actually, here, I got your account up right now, brother. Give me a second. I think they just posted it not long ago, so you're good. Try now, brother. You should be good now. You should be all golden right now. But when you look at the defensive numbers, both are holding teams to 3.7 and 3.8 yards a game, yards per carry running the ball. Passing the ball, they're still holding teams in the 6. Minnesota's given up 174 game on the ground, giving up 6.1 yards per passing attempt, and Syracuse has given up 189 at 6.4 yards per passing attempt. Turnovers, 4 or +4 for Minnesota, +7 for Syracuse. So like you start looking at the numbers, I lean towards the over. Regardless that it's going to be a running game. Regardless that it's going to be a predominant run-heavy game. If you get a turnover or any opportunity that creates a short field, there's an extra score. When the totals are low, I'd rather go over. And keep in mind, the total has risen on this one. It opened up at 42, which would be fucking phenomenal. All right? But we're sitting at 44.5 right now. It's already up 2.5 points. And I don't anticipate it to go down. So if I was going to do anything on this one, I definitely lean towards the over. All right? I definitely lean towards the over. I like it a lot better at 42 than I do 44.5. But something that I really like is I like the dog. I like the dog. I like the dog in this one. So, the dog plus the points, I'm all over. Syracuse plus the 10.5, sign me up. Syracuse plus the 10.5, sign me up. And I want you to know that is actually a premium play on the website today. I think Syracuse hangs tough. Now, they may not necessarily win outright, which At a plus 330, I think they're live. I definitely feel that they're live, but Syracuse plus a 10.5 free play. That's actually a premium play that's on the website. And here's something else that I like. And I cannot lie. Syracuse in the over in a teaser. A 7-point teaser. You can get Syracuse at plus 17.5 and the over 37.5. Sign me up. About the only thing that would probably screw this one up is possibly the over if it was all run predominant and we don't get any short field opportunities. No big run plays, no big passing plays down the field, no big easy scoring opportunities, no big kick returns, no big punt returns, no bad punts, no short fields from a missed field goal, none of that. Then I could see the under coming into play, but I don't think so. Seth just said Syracuse plus 16.5 and the over 38.5. Little teaser. I'd rather do the 7-point than the 6. Chef Baird, good afternoon. Alex, good morning to you on the West Coast. Jesus, good morning. Saying everybody get the NHL Game of the Year, which is, by the way, posted. And here is a link to it if you're not on it. Just posted in the comment section right there. If you haven't done so, please do hit the thumbs up button. We just broke down the Syracuse and Minnesota game and where we think that game is going to go. Little jams in the background. It's kind of like boring in here. It's a good little jam. Jesus says, guys, we kill the NHL. Get on board. I agree. Next up on the list, Oklahoma and Florida State. What to expect out of this good one, huh? Jesus, he was here a little bit ago. He was here just a little bit ago in the live chat, believe it or not, but here you go, just for you, brother. There you have it. Don't bet with clowns. He was posted in the comment section saying how we only had like 5 people here or something. I just turned on the live feed. Alrighty. You gotta get the music back. He just says, there we go, that's my boy. Right? He's definitely there. Oklahoma and Florida State, what do you need to know about this one? Right? What do you need to know about this one taking place at Camping World Stadium, Orlando, Florida? What do you need to know about the good old Cheez-It Bowl? All right, well, first of all, line opened up with Florida laying 9.5 and a total of 65.5. The total was hovered at the same, still sitting at 65.5. However, that line is now up to 10. Florida State is laying 10 in this one. Victor, we know the quarterback can sling it. We went over those numbers. They average 186 yards a game in the air. They average 8.4 yards per passing attempt. Same average as Syracuse. But Minnesota is what we were talking about, is a predominant run-heavy program. They average 46 run plays to 22 passing plays, I think it was. But anyways, back to Oklahoma and Florida State. Numbers have stayed the same on the total. Florida State has moved up a half a point. Oklahoma's 3-0 straight up and against the spread against Florida State dating back to 2001. They have owned Florida State. Here they are as a 10-point dog. Oklahoma 3-4 against spread versus elite rushing teams averaging more than 5 yards per carry in their last 7 games against elite rushing programs. By the way, Florida State 13-5 to the over the last 5 years in non-conference matchups. 13-5 when facing off against non-conference matchups. Take a look at Florida State and what they have done most recently. They're on a nice, 5-game win streak with wins over Georgia Tech, beating them 41-16. Miami beating them 45-3, nearly shutting them out. Syracuse, who they beat 38-3. I mean, they had that little 2-game stretch where they only gave up 6 points. All right. Then they beat who? Louisiana Lafayette, the Raging Cajuns, 49-17. And then they beat Florida 45-38 to get to where they are today. I wouldn't call them an elite defense, Victor. If you go back and you hit the rewind button, you'll see that the defensive numbers are very similar to their opponents, like identical. So if one's got an elite defense, the other's got an elite defense because they're all giving up the same numbers against different caliber of teams, mind you. By all means, take Syracuse. Take Minnesota. Lay the 10.5 points. I know where I'm putting my money. And then on the other side of the field, we get Oklahoma. Boomers Sooners 6-6. By the way, I got a really good friend of mine who's a huge diehard lifelong Sooner fan. And I'm going to be honest, I made fun of him this year. I made fun of him pretty flippin' hard this year. 6-6 straight up. 4-8 against the spread. And here they are in the Cheez-It Bowl. Against Florida State. Somehow they get a better bowl than, my Trojans, which obviously they don't get a New Year's Day, but they get a New Year's After Day bowl, in the Cotton Bowl, somehow against Tulane. Tulane ends up in the Cotton Bowl of all things. But anyways, back to this one. When you take a look at what Oklahoma did, or didn't do, they lost 3 of their last 4 games, losing to Baylor 38-35. They lost to West Virginia 23-20. They lost to Oklahoma State. They won against Oklahoma State 28-13. And then they had another 3-point loss against Texas Tech where they lost 51-48. They lost 3 out of their last 4 games by 3 points apiece. They lost 3 games by 9 points. Granted, before that, they had a little 2-game win streak where they beat Iowa State and Kansas. And before that, they were on a 3-game losing streak where they lost by, a touchdown to Kansas State. TCU put the beat down on them by 31. Texas shut them out 49-0. Texas shut them out 49-0. Mr. Reyes, how are you, sir? I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for asking. Oklahoma has definitely had their moments to shine and to look like complete dog shit. When you take a look at these numbers, Oklahoma averaging 32.9 points a game on offense. Florida averaging 36.2 points a game. Run numbers are very similar. They're both averaging 217 and 218. However, Florida State's averaging a half a yard more per carry at 5.5 yards per carry compared to the 5 of Oklahoma. In that passing game, offensive numbers very similar. Oklahoma averaging 256 a game in the air, 8 yards a carry, and 258 for Florida State at 8.7 yards per passing attempt. Oklahoma's defense has been giving up just some monsters, all right? They're giving up 29.6 points a game on average. Compared to the 19.7 of Florida State? Now, if you give me strength of schedule, I'm going to say Oklahoma had the tougher schedule. Granted, they played UTEP and Kent State and Nebraska and Kansas State, but they also played TCU and Texas, who they got slaughtered by. They did play Kansas, which we saw what Kansas can do. They played Iowa State, they played Baylor, they played West Virginia, they played Oklahoma State, they played Texas Tech. Whereas Florida State, in my opinion, had the weaker of the schedules, regardless that they beat LSU 24-23. But they played Duquesne, Louisville, Boston College, Wake Forest, NC State, quality team. Clemson, obviously quality team. But Georgia Tech, Miami, Syracuse, the Raging Cajuns, not up on the level of a Big 12 or an Atlantic Conference team. Strength of schedule, I definitely give the edge to Oklahoma. Experience, I give the edge to Oklahoma over Florida State. Turnovers, Oklahoma ended up +6 on the year, +2 for Florida State. So I don't see a big differential in turnovers there. Obviously, the defensive numbers are mismatched on points given up. But you look at the games that Oklahoma won. UTEP, Kent State, Nebraska. They gave up 13, 3, and 14 points. And their other wins against Kansas, they did give up a shit pile. They gave up 42 in their 52-42 win over Kansas. In their win over Iowa State, they held Iowa State to 13. And their win over Oklahoma State, they held them to 13. They have given up 14 points or more when they have won one time, and that was against Kansas. Now, granted, when they lose, they've been in some shootouts. They lost 51-48 to Texas Tech. We just saw what Tech can do, right? Beating the SEC team. They gave up 23 to Baylor. They gave up 38 in their 3-point loss to Iowa State. Obviously, Texas put the fucking ultimate smackdown on them. They gave up 55 to TCU, which is a force to be reckoned with, and that Cotton Bowl game is going to be amazing. Or not Cotton Bowl, Fiesta Bowl, excuse me. Ron Moore, good morning, sir. So what do I feel on this one? I mean, when you break it down, strength of schedule, you look at the numbers, offensive and defense. Yeah, Oklahoma's given up, 51 rushing yards a game more. However, on average, they've been defending the run more. They've been defending the run 8 times a game more. And if you're giving up 5 yards per carry, 8 times, 5, 40 yards on average, there's your 41-yard discrepancy right there, plain and simple. Oklahoma's defense is on the field a lot more than Florida State's. Florida State averages what? 65, defensive snaps a game, whereas Oklahoma's been averaging a lot more than that. 81. So I would expect their numbers to be a lot higher, and they're really not. The averages are not. Obviously, Florida State's passing defense has been phenomenal, holding teams to 159 yards passing in game at 5.8 yards per carry. I mean, that's a phenomenal number. But when you look at the strength of schedule and the teams that they've been playing, do those teams really have a strong passing game? Boston College, Louisville, Wake Forest, NC State, right? Georgia Tech, Miami, Louisiana Lafayette. Those are run-heavy programs. It's the reason why they're averaging, 38 run plays on defense that they're defending versus the 27 passing plays. So as far as this one goes, dog, baby. Dog. Boomer Sooner. And I fucking, trust me, I am not a Sooner fan. I got a real close buddy who's a lifelong Sooner fan, and it fucking pains me to say take the Sooners plus the 10 points today. Trust me. It absolutely fucking chaps my ass, but I don't bet with my heart. I bet where the money should be. And to me, that line's increasing. I'll sit back and wait. All right, we already got it up a half a point. Maybe some more people will throw on Florida State. I'd watch it and see if that number moves. If it starts to dip back down, you see the juice starting to drop on one side, then I would hammer it. All right, other than that, nice little lean on Oklahoma plus the points. Somebody asked, where was it? Shane asked thoughts on Oklahoma and Syracuse parlay. I like it. It sounds like money. Maybe it's a dog day. Maybe you take all 3 dogs on the money line today. Nah, I don't think I could take Washington on the money line today. Scratch that idea. All right? Scratch that idea. Maybe the first 2 dogs on the money line. I'm just out of fucking shits and giggles. $100 parlay on Syracuse money line and Florida State money line. Excuse me, not Florida State money line. Hold on. Oklahoma money line. $100 parlay will return $1,663. Pretty fucking good if you ask me. Pretty fucking good if you ask me. Pretty good if you ask me. All right, moving on to the next one. Because we're not going to be live for too long. I got a date with a little beautiful 7-year-old. Breakfast, late brunch date with my daughter today. Obviously, we do have NFL football today. Why did the line jump to 13.5? Probably has a lot to do with Malik Willis coming in as starter. I mean, Titans have lost 5 in a row? Excuse me. And Dobbs is starting. Excuse me. Joshua Dobbs is starting. That's probably where you see the spike most recently. Scott says, hearing your thought process when breaking down a game is gold. Thank you. You're very welcome. Glad somebody likes it. Dobbs was signed off the Lions practice squad last week. He's getting the start today. There's a lot of starters not playing today. I believe Henry is inactive for today. Most recent report just a couple minutes ago, Titans will hold out rookie quarterback Malik Willis and a slew of other starters against the Cowboys. They'll face the Jacksonville Jaguars in Week 18 in a game that is already guaranteed to determine the AFC South winner. So they're basically holding out their starters as basically an extra bye because Week 18 against Jacksonville is going to be the showdown, obviously, for the playoffs. So, yeah, you're not going to see Derrick Henry today. They signed a practice squad quarterback to give him rest. Henry was doubtful with a hip injury anyways. He's going to be out. Hasheem Haskins will be the featured back today. It was put out 3 hours ago that Henry was not expected to play. The report that I just read you was from 17 minutes or 15 minutes ago. He was listed as doubtful 20 hours ago. It was updated to doubtful, or even doubtful again 3 hours ago, but 17 minutes. They decided to sit a bunch of starters today against Dallas. So when you see it like this, don't necessarily fall for the trap that the Cowboys come in and just blow them out. Be careful. I emphasize extreme caution in this one, especially with the line of 13.5. Dobbs coming off the practice squad. He's got nothing to lose. He's got absolutely nothing to lose. He's going to come out and he's going to try to have a lights out kind of day today against the Cowboys defense. Jesus says, if the Cowboys lose, everybody is fired. We have seen this time and time again, year after year after year after year, when a team comes in and sits fucking their starters and they put in practice squad players and they elevate players from the practice squad to rest players for a certain situation. The other team that needs to come in and win and keep winning, they end up having a very close game, or they end up losing or not covering at the best case scenario, right? So as far as that game goes, I emphasize extreme caution, and Seth just gave you guys some great advice right there. That Dallas likes to play to their competition. Fact. All right, so moving on to the Washington and Texas game. The last football game of the day for college football today. The Alamo Bowl. They're at the Alamo Dome, San Antonio, Texas. Obviously, Texas, playing in Texas, obviously is going to have a big constituents there. Washington on the road, 10-2 on the year, 7-5 straight up. Mind you, Washington's only losses came against UCLA and Arizona State, where they lost 40-32, 45-38. They beat Arizona, they beat Oregon State, Oregon. They beat Oregon, let me throw that out there. They beat Colorado, and they beat Washington State to end the year 51-33. They also beat Kent State, Pollard State, Michigan State, mind you, and then obviously Stanford as well. Strength of schedule, instantly you're going to look at it and you're going to say Washington had the weaker schedule in the Pac-12. One of the weaker schedules in the Pac-12, Washington had. When you take a look at their opponent today, against Texas, They played Louisiana Monroe. Smoked them 52-10 to start the year. They played Alabama. They almost beat Alabama. Saban and the Crimson Tide beat them 20-19. They should have beat Alabama. They came back. They walloped UTSA 41-20. They lost to Texas Tech, who we saw did what they did against Ole Miss yesterday. They lost to them 37-34, lost by a field goal. Their first 2 losses of the year, they lost by a combined 4 points. Then they went on, and they won 3 straight, beating West Virginia 38-20. They smoked Oklahoma 49-0. And then they squeaked by an Iowa State team 24-21. Before they lost to Oklahoma State 41-34, losing by a touchdown. They came back. They beat Kansas State 34-27. They lost to TCU in a very low-scoring barn burner 17-10 loss. They smoked Kansas 55-14, and they just beat up Baylor on the 25th of November 38-27. Haven't played a game in over a month, both of these teams. What to expect? The last 4 out of the last 5 Texas games have all gone over the total. The last 2 for Washington went over the total, where they had a 3-game streak before that went under, 3 before that went over. I mean, they went 6-0-1 to the over in their first 7 games. 6-0-1 to the over in their first 7 games. Then 3 went under, 2 went over. Whereas Texas was playing under, all right? They went what? 1, 2, 5-2 to the under in their first 7 games, and ended up the season 4-1 to the over in their final 5 games. You know, you look at this one, line opened up Texas lane 4 with a total of 67. That's where the numbers opened. Where do you find yourself today? Texas is only laying 3 minus $1.10, minus 145 on the money line. With a total over and under 67, it stayed the same. Let's look at these numbers. Washington, they're scoring 40.8 points a game, just under 41. Texas averaging 35.7 with a much tougher opponent on average per week. Texas averaging 199 a game on the ground, 5.3 yards per carry. They're also averaging 231 in the air at 7.7 yards per passing attempt. Washington averaging just 145 a game on the ground at 4.7 yards per carry, and 377 in the air at 8.7 yards per passing attempt. Can the defense of Texas slow down that air attack by Washington? They're giving up 239 in the air. However, they're holding teams at 6.4 yards per passing attempt. They're also giving up just 123 a game on the ground at 3.3 yards on average. What their defense has given up for the run, excellent defensive numbers there on average. Washington's defense giving up 26.3 points per game, which is 5.1 points a game more than what Texas's defense gives up. They're giving up 127 a game on the ground, holding teams at 3.5 yards a carry, as well as 242 in the air, giving up that bigger 7.8 yards per passing attempt. Turnovers, even Steven. +2 for Washington, +1 for Texas. Texas 8-2 against the spread the last 10 games when facing off against the Pac-12. I fucking hate Texas. Going back to, the days Texas against USC. I still can't stand Texas. I still can't fathom wanting to bet on Texas. I hope they lose every single game. All right? Washington 6-0-1 to the under the last 7 games versus lower ranked teams. Texas comes in ranked 20th. Washington comes in ranked 12th. I could definitely plead a case why Washington should not be the 12th ranked team in the country. Who did they beat? Oregon. Michigan State. Kent State. And they're the 12th ranked team in the country? Get out of here. Big 12 teams are 10-3 straight up against the spread when playing in the Alamo Bowl. A lot of money early, and still is coming in on Washington, which got that number down a full point. Over 77% of the money coming in was rolling on Washington. Not this guy, folks. Not this guy. Not this guy. As of right now, Texas or bust, baby. Texas or bust, baby. What kind of fucking day is it, huh? Pigs must fly today, because I said take the Sooners, and I also said take Texas. Dear Lord. What in the world is happening today? What in the world is happening today? Holy moly. Anthony says this game is going to be over. Best bet for today. Chances are it goes over. I'm going to steer clear of the total on this one and watch from a distance. As far as Thursday night football goes, Elliott to record a touchdown is minus 185. Just want to put that out there. Dak Prescott over 2 passing touchdowns, over 1.5 passing touchdowns, minus 155 is something I will bet, as well as an Elliott touchdown. Elliott to get a touchdown, minus 185. Prescott over 1.5 passing touchdowns, I like it. I would bet him straight up. If you put him in a same game parlay over at our friends on... Oh, they don't have it. Dirty. I don't see the Dak Prescott over 1.5 passing touchdowns on the same game parlay page today. Maybe. Let's see. Hold on. Nope. I don't see it. Dirty. If it shows up later, I'd probably take Dak Prescott over 1.5 touchdown passes, as well as an Ezekiel Elliott touchdown. So, again, the Dallas game, be careful. Be careful. That's what I could say about the Dallas game. Be very careful. I think there definitely could be some traps out there. Yeah, super boost. Dak Prescott over 199.5 passing yards and CeeDee Lamb over 54.5. Receiving yards boosted to plus 100. So be careful. Yeah, Seth, it's on there, but not under same game parlays. It's not listed under same game parlay. It's up there individually. But that's about what I like on the Dallas and Titans game, Cowboys and Titans game. But that's what I have for today, folks. Don't forget the NHL Game of the Year for our NHL experts, which, by the way, I have no bearing on. I don't pick the plays. I don't do anything with the NHL. That is today. It's posted online. If you're not on it, go get on it. And let's have some fun. Let's have some fun. Let's make some money today. Daily free play video is out. There's going to be a Yes, Seth, they took it off today because they know he's going to have 2 passing touchdowns. Dirty, dirty, dirty dogs. There is going to be a video from FC later today that goes over the MMA Bellator versus Risen fights. He's got a video of the main fight breakdowns there, which it's like a 35-minute video or something. That will be coming out here a little bit later today. But yeah, that's what I have today, folks. Let's make a boatload of money, and let's have some fucking fun. Let's have some fun today, all right? Everybody make some money. If you're looking for the free play, it's somewhere in this video, all right? We gave you guys enough good stuff. Leans are something I'm betting today. Wink, wink. I can't give away the farm. But if you guys know what I mean, you know what I mean. All right, folks, I am out. Enjoy your Thursday and wager responsibly, and we'll see you guys all live tomorrow morning. All right, guys, good luck, everybody.